Hi, good evening, and welcome back to Philosophy Pop-Up Workshop. Please, if this interests you, please go either to YouTube or to the Facebook. We're almost exactly a week later. I'm going to take this down so that I'm not muffled. Again, we're going to start with COVID. We're in a situation now where things can go a lot of different ways. As I said last week, no matter what, it's going to be very bad between now and the end of the year. But my goodness, we have not one but two extraordinary vaccines, with a third one coming from Oxford within the next week or two. 90+% efficacy. They were hoping for 50 or 60%, maybe 70. And we already have two with I think 90 and 94.5%, and the one from Oxford is going to be very high. This is tremendous news. But bear in mind, it has to be distributed. And at least in one case, it's 2 shots, 3 weeks apart. And of course, the priority is going to go to frontline workers who are risking their lives and risking their family's health. They come first, then the elderly, then people with secondary conditions, and then the general populace. So we're already talking with that first vaccine, we need 660 million plus. I mean, we're up to 331 plus as I speak today. So we're talking 662 plus million doses that have to be distributed. This could happen pretty quickly. Some of it may come online before the end of the year. In the meantime, we've got to hold on. And the way Americans behave next week on the most critical, the busiest traveling days of the year, every year, next Wednesday and next Sunday. Please listen to what the national authorities are saying. The CDC is asking strenuously for people not to travel. And it goes all the way to the local authorities. Here on Nantucket, Mr. Santa Maria has echoed that. Please don't travel, and please don't come to visit Nantucket for Thanksgiving. And as a reminder, you know, here on Nantucket, a much better assessment of what's going on here and in every community is the fecal test, not the actual percentage of positive testing. And we know, for example, on Nantucket, that there's much more COVID in the general populace than would be indicated. I'd also like to mention a couple of things that have come up very recently. One is that these very large studies are now indicating that the asymptomatic transmission of COVID is over 50%. And half of that, or 25%, a little less than half of that, 25% of transmission is asymptomatic, with those asymptomatics never developing symptoms. So completely silent, quiet. That's one thing. Let me get back a little bit to masks again today. They did a study in Kansas, which has just come out, of adjacent counties. One where masks were mandated, or there was at least a very strong suggestion which people abided by, and the next door county not having a mask mandate or request. This is what happened. Those with masks, the community with masks, transmission went down 6%. The other community went up 100%. So you're talking about a 106% differential. Masks, no masks. Let me add a couple of details I've been thinking about with masks. Not all masks are created equal. It is extremely important that people do research, and if you're not wearing a medical mask or an N95, not a KN95, not a knockoff, an N95 or some other very high-tech mask. I know there are plenty of other ones out there that meet a pretty high standard, but if you look at the range, I've seen everything from 95 or above percent efficacy all the way down into the 20s. And I must say, wearing a kerchief or bandana, it looks great. I like wearing them myself for a decorative, around my head or around my neck. I would absolutely recommend finding something else. Please do the research. And the other element is, please make sure that it is over your nose. I see people walking around with it over their mouths, but not over their noses. And make sure it's absolutely snug. The other thing is, research has come out, they've now corrected or amended what was said earlier so that it's actually more of a balance, if not an absolute balance, between protecting others and protecting oneself. One actually can get a fair bit of protection oneself from wearing a mask, which was not what was indicated for months and months. It was almost solely about protecting other people from oneself. I think that covers most of the things that are in my mind. Well, a couple of other quick points. Do I have time? I would be very careful. I observed this today. There are almost no tourists on Nantucket, but I watched this down at the docks today. A couple asking an elderly gentleman to take selfies of them, take pictures of them. I don't know if it's advisable to be transferring. I mean, I watched the whole thing, and when the gentleman got his phone back, he just put it right back in his pocket. I'm not sure that that's advisable. The other thing is, I would recommend that people look into transmission to other mammals. Other mammals can get COVID, and I know there have been cases in New York City with dogs getting it from humans, and I just haven't seen the research. I don't know if it's come out yet on whether humans can actually get it from dogs or cats. But what I can say, in this community, we have such a high rate of dog ownership per capita. I would recommend that people actually take a look at that, because dogs are on the loose here in a lot of situations. People are petting them, and dogs are touching people and touching their belongings. I've had it happen to me in the last couple of days. And I love dogs, by the way. I can't have one because I'm allergic to them, but I absolutely love them and grew up with them. But I would suggest that people take a look at it. And indeed, it may be a long shot. But I would say if there's any chance whatsoever, it's something people would want to consider. And that's it for COVID today. All the best. Please have a wonderful, quiet Thanksgiving and stationary Thanksgiving. And hopefully everybody will be able to do what they wish in 21 for Thanksgiving. And a long time before that. If all goes well, things may be radically different next spring after these vaccines are distributed. Okay, so hang in there. Just hang on. There is indeed light at the end of the tunnel. A very bright light. All the best, God bless, and take care.